Hello everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur, and let's talk about Uber's email that you most likely got from Travis Kalanick. It's rare that we get any email from the CEO whatsoever. And what could bring Travis Kalanick out of hiding to talk to us drivers? Well, Donald Trump, of course. So hashtag politics. Here's what the email says, and then I'm going to comment on it. At Uber, we've always believed in standing up for what's right. Today, we need your help supporting drivers who may be impacted by President Trump's new immigration ban. Drivers who are citizens of Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, or Yemen and live in the US but have left the country will not be able to return for 90 days. This means they won't be able to earn money and support their families during this period. It's important that as a community, we do everything we can to help these drivers. Here's what Uber will do. One, provide 24/7 hour legal support for drivers who are trying to get back into the country. Our lawyers and immigration experts will be on call 24/7 to help. Two, compensate drivers for their lost earnings. This will help them support their families and put food on the table while they are banned from the US. Three, urge the government to reinstate the right of US residents to travel, whatever their country of origin, immediately. Four, create a $3 million legal defense fund to help drivers with immigration and transportation services. If you are a driver or a friend or family member of someone who has been affected, please contact us here. Uber is a community. We're here to help each other. Please help Uber to help drivers who may be affected by this unjust and wrong immigration plan. Travis, Uber founder and CEO. So, well, I have nothing against this per se. If you absolutely must know what my stance on the whole travel ban is, here's what I'm thinking. Here's my thoughts on it. We need immigration reform. We definitely need to screen people better. But the way this ban has gone just went way too far. Here's what I mean. Personal experience, my family knows some Muslims, or at least they were born in Iraq. And one of them, who is like 35 now, moved to the US when he was 14. He became a naturalized citizen. He owns property in Citrus Heights, California. He has never participated in any communist or terrorist activities. He goes to church. Not Muslim church, he goes to a Pentecostal church. His cousin is getting married in Iraq in a couple months. And he was pretty much told not to go to the wedding because if he did, he would not be able to come back to America, even though he's lived here for like 20 years and is a citizen now. And I mean that bothers me. That does. Not gonna lie, that's wrong. That's going way overboard. But otherwise, yes, I am in favor of new immigrants being screened better. So there's my stance. Some of you might unsubscribe. I don't care. I believe there's always two sides to every story, and this situation's more complicated than that. But I do want to talk about this email. And I want to talk about this email. And by the way, DoorDash sent an email too, and I will probably comment on that one as well. Because why not? Why not? This is the topic of the week. And in a way, it does affect drivers because if you're an immigrant, this could potentially affect your earnings if you leave the country. I would strongly suggest until all of this gets sorted out, if you're an immigrant, don't leave the country unless you absolutely have to. Common sense at this point. Just don't leave the country. I know you shouldn't have to make that choice, but whatever. So again, I don't necessarily disagree with this email in principle. Uber is basically saying we stand united with the people who are wrongfully affected by this ban. And some people have been wrongfully affected by the ban. Let's not kid ourselves. That little chime was a Facebook notification. But I'm also kind of offended by this, and here's why. Travis talks about community. He talks about how we are all in this together. He's there to support people who are affected by this. Where was this Travis Kalanick when drivers were complaining that they're not making enough money to feed their families? Where was this Travis Kalanick when people who invested in Uber and in their car lease program all of a sudden found themselves unable to make the car payments and found their vehicles impounded because Uber cut the rates so much that when they originally signed up for this service or these services, guess what? They lost their livelihood because Uber cut the rates. Where was Travis Kalanick at that point? Uh, they're creating a $3 million legal defense fund. That's great. Is Kalanick gonna pay for that? Probably not. I bet you it's gonna be us. I bet you the drivers are the ones who are gonna pay for that legal fund. And of course, then the question is, why is he doing this when he's so chummy with Donald Trump? Well, because of a couple of reasons. One, because Uber had the audacity to pick up people from the airport when the taxi cab drivers were striking for an hour in solidarity. Even though Uber did nothing wrong in that case, neither did the people who were driving for Uber do anything wrong. They were just filling a need. That's called business, supply and demand. And they're getting a lot of flack for that, and these small-minded liberals who don't actually want to do any work started that whole delete Uber hashtag movement. But not only did that happen, Lyft promised $1 million to help, you know, immigrants who had trouble with this new ban. And Uber has to always one-up Lyft. Ironically, Lyft could probably afford to do that more than Uber can at the moment. But the bottom line is, Uber doesn't want to be seen as the bad guy in this. This has nothing to do with standing in solidarity, because if we were of the community Uber said we were, then there'd be some basic human rights issues that would be addressed beforehand. And like these compensate drivers for lost earnings, you know what? There are Uber drivers who get sick, who get cancer, who get into a car wreck while driving for Uber and they break their leg and they can't drive for weeks. Does Uber offer them any compensation whatsoever? No, they don't. They had never have, and they never will. Why? Because who cares? Uber doesn't care. Unless you're in the media spotlight, like what's going on with this travel ban, Uber doesn't care. Uber's doing it because they got caught, admittingly unfairly, in a controversy. They're not popular right now. People are threatening to boycott them, which, you know what? Let the boycott calls come. Very few people actually follow through with the boycott. And then there's going to be people who will boycott you because you're supporting the immigrants. Uber, you're not going to win on this one. You might as well not even try. But it bothers me that you are trying, because all these things you mentioned, it's like, well, but where's the 24-hour, 24/7 legal support for people who aren't immigrants, who are just driving Uber, who had to mace someone because they were about to get attacked in their own car? Where is that support, Uber? Like, look, again, I don't want to say this is entirely a bad thing, because, again, there have been immigrants in this whole situation that have been very, very unfairly targeted. That is what I said by, I think what I meant when I said Donald Trump went way overboard with how this, ban was worded. I don't completely disagree with everything in it, but I mean, legal citizens who are here shouldn't fear this kind of persecution. They should not fear, having traveled to Germany and then coming home and find out they can't go home. Personal thought, for whatever it's worth. Bigger thought, Uber is only doing the support because it's in the news. They got some bad publicity in the news and they're trying to fix it. And they got a double whammy bad publicity. Not only is their app the one that's being boycotted, even though Lyft was doing the same thing at the airport, but Lyft was the first one who said, we'll donate $1 million to this. And now Uber's come along like, oh, you donate $1 million? Well, we'll donate $3 million. And this is what in the industry we call cock blocking. So here's the thing. Travis Kalanick, I don't trust him to help out with anything. anything whatsoever because Uber is in the picklest of picklest situations. They can publicly oppose this, but at the end of the day, they kind of need Donald Trump to approve their autonomous vehicles and to get rid of those drivers. And yeah, this is not going to end well for them. This isn't going to end well for us. I don't know what else to make about this. I really don't. I mean, geez. And then yeah, again, I will make videos for the DoorDash, which I thought the DoorDash letter was honestly a lot more sensible and a lot less patronizing because Uber sent a very strong message with this email that well, they sent two strong messages. One was very clear. They support the immigrants. And I'm not here to tell them whether or not they are right or wrong in doing that. But they also sent a strong message that basically they will not care about us unless we're in the news. That's not a situation I want to be in, and it's one more reason why Uber drivers do not feel like they're part of a community. They do not feel like they're treated well. They do not feel cared for. It's because of stuff like this. Because Uber's here to offer help and compensation and legal support. Where has Uber been for the last couple years when there wasn't a national crisis? Because I have to tell you, the people who are struggling to make a living doing this, the people who have families to feed that can't, the people who had their cars impounded, this has been going on for years, and Uber has turned a blind eye to it and a deaf ear. Maybe had a President Donald Trump been in office beforehand to target those people, maybe they would have gotten help then from Uber. Also, final note, I just want to say, doesn't necessarily have anything to do with this, but for a guy who claims that we're a community, why is it the Uber Partner app was renamed to the Uber Driver app? Because I don't think they see us as partners anymore. That's why. So, there you go. Next video will be political as well. Just giving you the heads up. So, what do you folks think? Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and please flame responsibly. Have a good one.